DACA is back. Hello, everyone. Welcome to McKinney Immigration Matters TV. I am Andre McKinney Dorval, AMD for short, and on this channel, we discuss immigration news, USCIS and immigration court updates. We also share tips and strategies because it all matters to you, your journey, and your American dream. Guys, DACA is back for initial filings. Now, before we dive into what that means, let me just briefly share a little bit of history. Now, back early in our channel, we shared with you that the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals issued a ruling that basically found that the DACA program was unlawful. And as a part of that order or ruling, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, sent the case back down to the trial court level so that the trial court could implement the terms of that order. Now, on September 29th, the administration, as a part of the ongoing litigation, filed its response in terms of how it proposes to comply with the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals order. Now, I should share with you DACA initial applications have not been processed since 2021. Although existing beneficiaries of DACA holders were still able to apply for their work permits and things of that nature. And so, in brief summary form, what does the government propose in terms of processing initial DACA applications and how DACA will apply as to individuals who live in Texas? So let's dive into it. So first off, the Department of Homeland Security and USCIS are proposing the following. Number one, the limitation on DACA will be based on residence. What does that mean? It means that a person's current state of residence, which will be verified through the most recent address on file with USCIS, will determine what benefits of DACA you will have. DACA recipients therefore must keep their addresses updated within 10 days of moving. So for initial DACA requests, USCIS will continue to adjudicate the initial DACA applications nationwide. Applicants who live in Texas, they will receive protection from removal or deportation, but they cannot receive work authorization or lawful presence benefits. Again, that is for applicants who are living in Texas. If a DACA recipient is approved for DACA outside of Texas, but later moves to the state of Texas, USCIS will issue a notice of intent to revoke their work permit. Now, DACA renewals. While there is a partial stay that is in effect, renewals will still be processed as usual. Now, if the stay is lifted, the same Texas specific restrictions, will apply to the renewals. And that simply means that no work authorization and no lawful presence benefits. Employment authorization and lawful presence. Texas residents with DACA will not be able to receive work authorization, and again, they will not be considered lawfully present under the immigration regulations. USCIS and the administration intends to create a special class of admission code to identify Texas-based DACA recipients who are not considered lawfully present. And I also want to share with you guys is that ultimately what all this means is that DACA still continues nationwide, but Texas residents, they will not be able to benefit from key DACA provisions, such as being able to obtain a work permit and also having lawful presence. And the reason for that, guys, is because the state of Texas is the only state that has been able to show that they have suffered a harm from the DACA program. And of course, USCIS will continue to enforce the address-based restrictions to comply with the court order. Ultimately, guys, what does this all mean in the grand scheme of things? it clearly indicates that while initial DACA applications will be processed for applicants who have had applications sitting for 4 years, it certainly has an element of uncertainty because it's still a very fluid process. And so, as I've shared in prior videos, ultimately, the solution to DACA as a whole and Dreamers is ultimately for Congress to pass legislation that provides some sort of pathway for Dreamers. I shared in a prior video prior to the president being sworn in an interview in December 2024, the president at that time did express a willingness to work with Congress to provide some sort of pathway for Dreamers. And that goes without saying, that is still something that is very much so needed, because for other states that are similar to Texas, that are not in favor of the DACA program, they too want to continue to see that this program is wind down and comes to an end. So guys, if you are someone who can benefit from an initial application for DACA, be sure that you stay tuned with the next steps that the district court will be issuing to the parties. But for now, DACA is still in effect nationwide. And of course, as I've indicated, there are limitations for those who are DACA recipients in the state of Texas. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will definitely see you in the next one. Bye-bye.